I'd like to introduce Sébastien Didier, an engineer based in Paris with a unique blend of expertise in mechanical, industrial, and civil engineering alongside advanced programming skills. He has worked in the nuclear and aeronautical industries and is proficient in Python, JavaScript, C, C++, C Sharp, and VB.NET. A decade ago, Sébastien began leveraging Python and Dash to build interactive dashboards for monitoring AI model training. In today's session, we are going to cover the following. We're going to hear about Sébastien's journey in becoming a Plotly community member, the usage of Plotly and Dash in the Figure Friday apps, and best practices for data visualization and app development. Welcome, Sébastien. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of
Hi,
course.
everyone.
Thank you for joining. Sébastien, to get started, what can you share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. But you did a good sum up. So, yeah, basically, I'm an engineer, meaning I build things because I don't have one specialty, but many. Uh, Officially, I'm a mechanical and civil engineering, but I suppose I can also be, I can code, so I'm also a software engineer. And for more background, yeah, I started to work on the design of structure of nuclear power plant, sorry.
Power plant.
And then still in the nuclear field, but on the design of reactor, nuclear reactor for submarine.
Nuclear reactors or submarines, okay.
Yeah. And then I switched to aeronautics, working for Airbus Helicopter as a aerospace engineer, meaning my job was to be sure that everything on the every helicopter is compliant to the regulations. So basically, it's I would say project management focused on engineering.
Okay.
And yes, actually, I can also say I'm a software engineer because I've always coded actually, um,
I
even
was
before to start to work.
yeah, I was going to ask about that, Sebastian. So,
Hmm.
you know a lot of programming languages, and you know Python very well, and we'll go into Dashly and Dash and Plotly. But did you, when you studied it at the University of Mechanical Engineering, did you have to study programming there as well?
Actually, no, not at all. Actually, I learned to code by myself because I needed it, and it was for me really interesting. So I learn. I'm still learning.
What was the
First,
first programming languages that you learned
yeah,
by your own?
I started to code actually for before to start to work for an internship at Georgia Tech Atlanta,
Okay.
uh, where I was in charge to build the software for structural analysis.
Okay.
And back then, knowing anything about coding, I guess like most of software engineer, I started to learn C and C++.
Uh-huh.
But actually, I needed to build an UI, so I found it more convenient to use Visual Basic for that. So I
Okay.
also learned Visual Basic.
Oh, okay.
So that was my yeah.
And
Just the
when did you start going into Python?
and a few years later actually, because yeah, I was interested. It was yeah, almost 10 years ago now. It was around 2015 when I was interested by AI actually, and almost everything still nowadays are in Python in
Yeah.
the AI field. So I learned Python because of that. It was around the release of TensorFlow back then with the Google framework for AI. So I learned what I needed to learn to use to build AI models to train it, etc., etc.
Nice. So was it back in the day? It was more like machine learning and neural networks?
Yeah, exactly. It was not to build exactly the neurons, but using the TensorFlow framework was easier to build models, but back then we didn't have any open source models already trained. So I had to build from scratch the model and train it.
Wow, what was that like? Was that difficult? Did you enjoy the process?
Not exactly to discover yet, yes, but to really use it after that, not really. But
Okay.
it was more to understand how that works, and because as we know today, to have good models, we need a lot of data and a lot of resources to train it. So it's really expensive. So that's why I guess only a big company can train good models from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then at some point after you learned Python, you started going into the world of data visualization, and that's where you learned Plotly. Can you talk to us a little bit
Yeah,
about how that process happened?
yeah, exactly. But that goes together actually because when I was training the AI models, because took that took lot of time to train. So I wanted to have some visualization during the training to see if everything was fine and that the results were good during the training and to stop it if something were wrong. So yeah, I started to build the dashboard first with Matplotlib, obviously. But something missing was mostly because of the interactivity. I needed to have, I wanted to add controls for the plots actually.
Okay.
So that's how I find the Dash and Plotly.
Okay. And so this was how long ago?
It was 10 years ago,
Oh
about
wow.
yeah, 2015. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Plotly in also in 2015. So you've been with us for a long time.
Yes, yes, I guess. Yeah, I've been using Dash and Plotly for about 10 years now.
Okay. And when one of the things we wanted to cover today, I also see that Mike has mentioned, similarly to you, Sebastian, that the user interface for machine learning is how it was a primary use case for getting started with Dash. So similar. Um, Sebastian, what you started learning Plotly, and then one of the things we wanted to cover today is how you became a community member. What was the first steps that you took to actually become a community member? How did you get involved?
Yeah, because it was because of the amazing community, I guess, including you, Adam.
Thank
You
you.
welcomed me at that time. But the first step actually was I discovered the Dash Grid a few years ago because I needed a grid for a table for my applications. So I found that Plotly were working on that project to add a Dash Grid on the components. And it was, I think, more or less the beginning of the development of this component. So when I went through the documentation, it was current, yeah, building, partly you were building it, so it was not really few things missing. So
Yeah.
I wanted to contribute while I was learning Dash Attribute. Uh, I noticed a few things I could improve. So that's how I started to contribute with this component. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I started.
That's how you really entered, and you entered with a blast. I mean, you
Mm,
devoted hours of contributions and very detailed,
yeah,
excellent documentation, like very clear information and instructions on how to get started with not only get started, but all you covered most of the components and features of Dash AG Grid.
yeah, because actually Dash Grid is a really huge component, really
Yeah.
complex. We are still working on it. But yeah, at that time, as I said, to Anne-Marie, with which I was working with. I guess it's how I said that? Occupational tick.
A what? Occup
Occupational
an occupational
occupational
tick?
tick. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we say that in French, a tick professionnel,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
meaning that because particularly when I was airworthiness engineer at Airbus Helicopter, part of my job was to check a lot of documents uh, to be almost perfect because about the content itself, but also with the form because those documents must be provided to the official authority for
Yeah.
approbation. So yeah, even the form, the content and the form must be perfect because that shows the quality of the documents. So I had to be really strict about that. So yeah, I guess it's an occupational tip. And
Yeah.
reviewing the docs, I noticed every little details I could improve.
Yeah, especially if you're writing documentation as your profession for like helicopters, you said, right?
Yeah,
You can't make a mistake there, right? You can't say press this button to do this, and then it's like does completely something different.
yeah. After all, yeah, it's too late.
You're too late. Cool. Okay, so you wrote Dash AG Grid, but in the while you were contributing to Dash open source, specifically Dash AG Grid, you also started building your own apps. Like I remember when we first started talking, you remember you showed me like an app where you actually followed your exercise on the bicycle.
Uh, yeah, that one, yeah, was really fun. Unfortunately, it's null code. I need to improve it now, but yeah, actually, this app, it was really fun to work on it. Um, I have a bike uh, inside, how to say,
Yeah, like
it's
a spin bike, a bike indoors.
yeah, indoor, exactly. Sorry, indoor bike that I can connect to my phone on Bluetooth with an app.
Okay.
But I didn't like the app, so I made my own app using Dash, and I managed to connect my bike on my computer through Bluetooth and fetch the live data. And I use this data on a dashboard I built on my computer.
And didn't you do all this with like Raspberry Pi?
Not that one.
Not that one.
So
Okay.
it was local, hosted locally on my computer.
Okay. Cool. Um,
So I needed to run it on my computer and then start the training.
Sébastien, going back to community involvement, community contributions, what would you feel is the most gratifying or enjoyable part of being part of the community?
I guess I like any open source project because it's amazing how community can build things um, and give all the work of everybody freely. So even with a Plotly and Dash, that's amazing is that you can use for your personal project, but also I guess even professionally in your job you can use it also. So it's not a small project, let's say. So anytime I can help with something on any open source project, I'm really glad to do it.
I, I hear that a lot actually, where sometimes people will contribute because they either have benefited a lot from using open source Plotly and Dash in their own apps in their companies, and they want to give back, pure giving back. And sometimes they want to contribute because, in addition to giving back, it also they're developing a feature or developing documentation or building something in a pull request that helps with their need of the app that they have, that they're building as a hobby, something they're doing on the weekends, or the need for an app they have at work, or sometimes they're using Dash for their own startup company, and they need something specific, so they'll open that pull request and try and contribute. So
Mm.
it's like a win-win.
Yeah, exactly. And I did also kind of that because when I was working on the Dash Grid docs, uh, I noticed few features wasn't available on the component itself. So I try to to open a pull request to improve the component itself
Nice.
because to use a new feature on it
Cool.
because I need it. That's why also
Definitely.
yeah, you're right.
Okay. So you started and spent months,
Mm.
maybe even more, contributing to Dash Grid docs, which, thank you, has been very, very helpful. And you continue contributing. Even now, you just, I remember we talked on Monday, we're trying to
Yep.
update to
Mm.
version 31.2, I think, um,
Mm.
2.3.
Yeah,
So,
because Dash Grid is based on another open source project, Grid,
right.
but the team working on Grid work really, really fast. So it's really hard to keep up with them to
Yeah.
import every feature on the Dash. So yeah, so
Yeah.
we are working with Brian and Anne-Marie on the new version, the 20, 30,
30,
32. Yeah,
30, yeah, 32.
32 version.
That's the benefit of having community members work together,
Mm.
because it's not possible just one community member or just two people. Like, you need a team of community members that are working together to accomplish this. So
Yeah,
the
the more the
backbone.
merrier.
Yeah, more the merrier. All right, and in addition to that, other ways you've been part of the community is through building apps for app challenges or building apps for Figure Friday. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, but about Figure Friday, unfortunately, I didn't made any dashboard since for a few months now, but because I was busy with other things. But yes, I built a few actually for I wanted a United app for that. So I built one app to host every dashboard for Figure Friday. And lately, I also built a multi-dashboard app we can talk about also.
Yeah, well, let's start with the Figure Friday app,
Hmm?
because I like how you did that multi-page app where with one app you can see on the sidebar, you can see all the different Figure Fridays that you had time to build, right, the apps for. So yeah, let's start with that. Let's share a screen. I'd love for you to show
Oh,
our viewers what kind of apps you built. Highlight the things you want to you think are the most interesting,
okay.
and then we can jump to the other app that you built. And this is for those who just joined us. Um, as you know, the Poly Hangouts are very interactive type of sessions. It's like let me just allow. It's like a fireside chat. So please, if you have any questions, this is the time, right? Sébastien is going to show you things that he thinks are interesting in his app or apps. But if you want to go over a certain feature or want to learn more about a certain something specific he did in the app or want to see something in the code, please speak up, right? Unmute yourself, write in the chat, and we'll make sure to answer your questions. All right, Sebastian.
Yeah. So here it is. So here I made a home page for Figure Friday to explain the initiative, etc. So every session, so I start on the week 41, unfortunately, and all the previous one. And here, my apps on this side. And as I explained here, actually, it's this project is hosted at home on premise
Nice.
using a Kubernetes cluster I made myself, uh, hosted on three Raspberry Pis.
Very nice.
And also, side note, building this Kubernetes cluster actually to host my Dash apps. Also build everything for the pipeline to deploy automatically the app when I update it So
So,
only a push to GitHub, and 5 minutes later, it's live.
updated. And does the app sit simultaneously on all three Raspberry Pis?
More or less,
Like,
actually, it's
what's the Sebastian?
Kubernetes.
What's the reason that you needed three Raspberry Pis and not two or not one?
Yes, that's another story, but I can explain a few details here. Because when I was building apps with Dash, um, as you guys probably know, it's hosted locally on your computer. But I wanted to make it available to anyone through internet. So at that time, I learned a few things about how to about backend, basically, how to host to serve your app. And so I at that time I had a very old Raspberry Pi version 3. It's basically a Linux computer, so I could use it as a server. So I set everything to host my app on the Raspberry Pi. But sadly, few years ago, there was a particularly hot summer, and the Raspberry Pi fortunately didn't make it. So it crashed, and so everything was gone, simply put. So at that time, I had in mind to learn and use Kubernetes, and it was a trigger to start because Kubernetes one of the strength of Kubernetes is this kind of situation. Uh, you can recover easily because if you have a cluster, here I'm using a three Raspberry Pi. If one is down, others can
Take over.
take over. Yeah, exactly. So if today one is down, everything is fine. I can uh, I can replace it if or restart it, do to debug it, and everything is working like anything else is happening.
Yeah, like load balancing, Harris was saying.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see what you have there in the apps.
So here on the side, I added all the weeks. So in gray, it's the week I didn't have the time to work on it, but in white, I added also a few tooltips to have an overview of the app. So let's
It's
start
really
with this
cool.
one quickly. It was the first app I built. So obviously using Dash Grid. So here it was for the rewind investment in the US in 2024. So I don't know if you want me to go in the details.
I do, but even one second, Sebastian.
Yeah,
First of all, like I have a question here. Dash HA Grid that you're using there, each app that you built in five of these weeks, do you create a separate virtual environment for each app? So this is using a certain version of Dash HA Grid, and it's locked. That version is locked.
good question. Yes, yes. If I don't update it, it's locked because it's running on basically on a container, Docker container. So it's not updated with the current version. But I need to check that. Good point, because as we told, we are updating Dash Grid, so I don't know if I update a Dash Grid here that going to break everything.
And that's it looks like you did it that way, and that's pretty smart because a year from now or 2 years from now we might be at Dash 4.0 and Dash 5.0. Instead of you having to go back and make sure everything is compatible, if you have the versions locked, this should
Mm.
in essence always work.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, why don't you tell us I mean, I know there's a lot of apps you want to show us. What is there one or two features from this app that you would like to highlight that you
Yeah,
think would be cool?
yeah. One of those things interesting I like to do because what I love about Dash is interactivity, and you can use any component to make your yeah, a real app, actually, not only about the plots, the graphs. And first thing I like to do is to use a dash grid, um, like a super filter for the data, for the plots. So basically, if you run if you try any filter, like I don't know, if you want to see only the district, all the district 6, let's say, that updates and the graphs updates accordingly. So you see the data only for district 6 for any states, so Alabama, etc.
Very nice.
So this is the first thing I like to do. Use a dash grid like a super filter for the input data of the plots.
Yeah.
And second thing interesting is it's the first time I did that here because there are a lot of consoles on the side. But if you want to have more room for the plots and the grid, you can hide it.
How did you do that?
So I made it myself. It's not component. I'm not
Okay.
sure there is such a component, but it's kind of a drawer. So it's I think a div, simple div component.
But is that
So when
using like either dash bootstrap or dash mantine?
no, it's a regular div component, I
Okay.
think, from the core component. And clicking on the button, it's a button here, that acts on the width on the div with an animation, and it seems like it's like a drawer hiding
Yeah.
behind
Nice.
with a nice animation.
Very cool.
So yes, I think it's the most interesting feature here. And here also, I mean, a kind of a mini bar chart I use to set the map color scale, because sometimes there are outliers on the data and you can't see anything on the plot. Here, for instance, if you have the map by a congressional districts,
Yeah.
you see most of the data is close to 0.
Yeah.
So if you span through all the data, you can see anything on the map.
Oh. Okay.
So if you kind of cap the color scale, it's clearer.
Nice. So you're just like slicing the data a little bit to remove the outliers.
It's only about the color scale, actually.
Oh,
That's
okay.
it, more or less the maximum of the color scale.
Okay.
So it's not about the data. It's only I think it's the max that sets the maximum of the and the minimum also. Because
Esther said that she really likes the colors that you chose.
I thank you. It's yeah, about the color, the template. It's I like this one. It's the theme of bootstraps. You can also change. So here it's the solar theme,
Nice.
but there are a lot of
I think that's Anne Marie's
yeah,
theme switcher, right? Nice.
exactly.
All right, Sebastian. Let's see one more app in for your Friday, and then we can move on to the highlighted app.
It was about the Spotify track exploration, about a lot of feature of the tracks.
Okay.
But here
Oh, yeah.
there are a lot of data, especially on Raspberry Pi. It's quite long because that load a lot of rows. Okay, let's try another one. Maybe this one was
Oh, that one's a
interesting.
cool one. Yeah, I like that.
Mm. It was about the air quality around the world from this range of
50,
time.
50 to 20. Here, I remember, Sebastian, I really liked how you also changed the labels of the markers on the scatter map to colors. You updated the colors of the label. It's kind of cool.
two things here. There is a marker with the size and the color about the pollution. And the labels actually shows the difference between the current selected year. So here it's 2021 compared to the previous year. So you can see with the slider here, you can select the year. For instance, to 20. So here we can see in this area, the air quality is bad because it's red. But with the marker, you can see with the labels, sorry. With the labels, you can see there is an improvement. Even if that's bad, it's improving.
Between compared to last year, so
Yeah,
2006
so
it
the
was worse, but
previous year.
2007 it was better. Okay.
And one cool feature here, it's I use below. Actually, you can see the historical data for the selected country here. So for Paris, London, Moscow, and Ottawa. So you have the full historical data. But
Nice.
clicking on the map or on the bar chart on the side, you can add cities directly on the line chart. So for instance, if you want to see Sao Paulo, you click on it and that add it here. So you have the data also for Sao Paulo in blue. And the same
Nice. So
about
if I want
the
to
bar.
compare two cities, I can just remove everything from the drop down and just click on two cities, either in the drop down or in the scatter map or the bar chart.
Yeah. So let's keep Paris. And if you want, here that shows the worst and the best city around the world. So if you want to compare the worst, which is in what
Delhi.
27, it's Delhi. So you click on it, and you can see the historical data in pink.
Huh.
So yeah, you can see it's almost the maximum level registered. And
Yeah.
compared to the best city, it was in Yakutsk in Russia. So here, yeah,
Nice.
much better. So yeah, it was really fun to work on it. And the last one, it was about the subway, New York City subway. So yeah, here there is also a lot of things happening.
And that's and in the middle is dash age grid again, right?
Yeah, here not a lot of feature. I use not a lot of feature, but more like to sum up the data to have the most the key figure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for each transportation to have the ridership mean daily, weekday and weekend and monthly, and here to compare between the previous period because you can use this input number input to select the period. So here, this is the data for the last 6 months. So you can tweak if you want only for the year, for instance, for
I
one
really
year.
like this kind of creativity of yours to allow the user to update, to put controls into the titles of graphs and tables.
Mm.
It
Yeah,
doesn't have
exactly.
to
That's
be the traditional, here are all your controls on the left or all your controls on the right, and
mm,
that's where your eyes need to go to change things. No, right now your eyes are focused on dash your grid. You don't need to go all the way to the right. You can just change and interact dash your grid right there with the control, just through the title. It's kind of cool, really cool.
yeah, you're right. I like interactivity and give the users the key to see what you want to see, actually.
Yeah,
But keeping always in mind to have the, let's say, the cleanest interface, the cleanest UI.
yeah,
So I try to find a few tricks to kind of hide controls, like including the
title.
controls inside the title. So here, this is the same. You can choose total ridership by quarter, or you can set by year.
And to be honest, like as I said, this is it's very smart because it also you're prioritizing real estate, you're prioritizing space, right? Instead of, again, creating a whole sidebar of controls, you're putting the controls inside the graphs of cells or the title of explanations and descriptions of the graphs or the cards. And I like this. I don't, you didn't mention this yet, but you have a very special, a unique approach to dashboard building where you make it very easy for the user to view and use and interact with the dashboard because they don't have to go to multiple pages, they don't have to go to multiple tabs, they don't have to scroll down or app. Everything they need to know is right in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. You're so right. I'm trying to build a dashboard that fits on the current window you can see, and no need to switch between pages or to scroll through the page to have the information. Everything is on your window.
Yeah, very nice.
And here, also here, you see, I try to have a compact controls panel,
Yeah.
but here it's really too crowded. So the same thing as the first application, I built a kind of a drawer to hide the controls,
Sweet.
to have more room for the plot.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, I need to provide every data you can you want to explore with
Yeah.
all the controls you can use, but fitting in one window.
Cool. All right, and how every app you build builds upon the last app and the last things you've learned, and you can incorporate more things to them that just become better. And so I'm really curious about seeing this app that you're. Are you done working with this app that you want to show us, or are you still working on it?
The last the other app,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there are always things to improve, but I think it's quite good. The other app also I can show because I also used a few other interesting feature.
Okay.
If I switch, which is
Okay.
this is the okay. So for this one, actually, I used a few data sets that are related, and I build more or less one dashboard by data set. So here for countries, readiness, programs, audit activities, and entities. But all the data are linked actually. So to give you some context, this is a green finance, green climate fund. Sorry. Actually, it's a fund related to the United Nations that are in charge to invest the money from countries or national banks or private investors. So they invest their money to project to improve climate change.
Mm-hmm.
And so here, actually, this is the first data set you can see on the dash of the grid. It's related to the countries where the investment are made to see where the money is spent. So it's the country, what they call the non-Annex 1 countries, but typically the country especially vulnerable to the adverse impact of climate change.
Okay.
So here it's to monitor which country are helped to see if where you can prioritize the investment. And the other tabs actually, there are two kind of a project: the readiness program to help the countries to define then their needs, because you need also financing to research what can be done actually before to do the improvement. So this is the readiness programs, and then there are the project activity. It's the let's say the real implementation of the project.
Okay.
So there are two kind of a project, and the last one is what they call entities. It's the company in charge of realizing the project.
They're in charge of what? Of realizing the project?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
can say that. And so here, few things. Still, like previous dashboard, I use the grid first to see the data and use it as a filter for the data of the chart. So if you, let's say, if you want to see only the Asia country, so everything is filtered
Nice.
for Asia.
Wow.
And about the dashboard grid, you can also see I customized it the cell here for to include the flags of the countries.
Huh. How did you get the flag for each country?
Actually, two solutions. Either you use an image, but that can be huge because there are a lot of countries, and an image can take several bytes or
Yeah.
megabytes.
Yeah.
But here, actually, it's an icon. I use, I think it was Twitter icons.
Okay.
So it's
Wow.
icons. I import icons. It's lighter.
Nice. Nice solution.
And also I customize the checked those cells that are Boolean. It's a yes, a false or true.
Okay.
So here it's the priority states. There are three categories: the small island and developing states, the least developed countries, and the African states. So I customize the checked the Boolean value. And
Oh,
here that
nice.
also I need links to go to the other dashboard related to this country. So if you want to see the readiness program for Albania, you can click here.
I'll just switch to the tab.
Yeah, the switch tab and see the data of the readiness program only for Albania
Wow.
directly. So all the tabs, all the dashboard are linked. And here's the same for the funded activities. And also I did a few controls here and there. So here to see the priority states,
Uh-huh.
to change the scope also.
Huh. So cool. So much information, so much possibility, so many possibilities in such a small area.
Mm. And like before, I also use the title to change the data. So here it's showing the data about the readiness program financing by country, but you can change the switch to funded activity and between financing or the number of projects.
Oh. So the dollar amount or the number of projects per
Yeah,
country.
exactly like say in dollar. And it's the number of projects. So you can see in Brazil there are 12 projects, and here it's either by country or by region. So Africa, Asia, or America.
Oh, that's smart. Nice.
So three kind of hidden controls in the title.
Can we see readiness program not by number but by funding, and
Yeah,
then region instead of country? Okay,
as
so the
color are not.
darker Asia.
It's it's mostly green because actually in Europe there are not a lot of investments. So
Okay, I see.
it's a kind of outlier. I can implement the solution I showed you previously
Before.
to spread the color bar.
Yeah. Cool.
There is some room for improvement still, but
Africa, Asia.
yeah.
Wow.
And little trick I use also. I use the here. Actually, I don't know if you noticed, but it's a carousel
Oh no, nice.
that I tweak to use it. Usually, it's used to switch the images
Images, yeah.
horizontally. You can click on the left or right to switch images like a carousel. But here I use it to switch the text.
Yeah. And since it's only, I think it's a good, if it's like two or three, maybe maximum four options, carousel here can work. If it was like 10
Mm,
options, then maybe a drop down would have been better. But this is really
yeah,
nice
exactly.
for a carousel.
Because I like the transition. You can
Yeah.
see the animation. But
Yeah.
you're right. I think where is it? Thank you. Here for the theme, there are as you can see the theme, the category. There are a lot of categories, and that's too much to use the carousel. So here I use a drop down.
Oh, that's an interesting drop down. Is this the a regular DCC drop down?
Yeah, no, little customized. As you can see, I changed the border to match the
Yeah.
theme.
But it is a DCC drop down that you just customized?
Yes, I think not maybe the maintain
Okay.
drop down.
Okay.
Yeah, here
Very
for this
nice.
app, I try to use only maintain components.
Uh-huh. Wow, so much information.
Yes, cheap. And here the same. I try because you can use the grid to filter the data on the plots, but
Yeah.
the opposite also.
Yeah.
When you click on the map or on the graph, you filter the data on the grid. So click on Brazil, you're going to have the line of the Brazil. And then if you want to have details, you can, as I showed previously, click on it and have details only about Brazil.
Nice.
And here, a little button in the middle to reset the filters. And you can also use this graph to filter also the data. So if you want to see only this developed country, you can click here. And let's say only for Asia. It's filtered by least developed country,
Yeah.
only in Asia.
Oh,
So everything is linked. And last thing, for this app, it's the first time I use it's the URL, the query feature,
yeah, I like that.
because the query feature actually is linked to the filter of the grid. So yeah, if you want, you can directly modify the URL, the query. If you
Current
want
in the URL.
Europe, for instance,
Huh.
it's
Oh,
filter for
is it
Europe.
supposed to be Europe with O?
Or whatever you can. Actually, there is nothing like because there is no this
Least
developed
development
country
countries, yeah.
in Europe, so I need to remove that.
I see.
It's the same. We'll,
Okay.
I can see.
Fascinating.
So
And all of
the
this is
grid,
open source? All of this is publicly on GitHub?
yes, it's available. If you want to take a look on the code, there is the link to a GitHub repo on the upper right side,
Okay. Awesome.
and obviously with a theme switcher, theme
Sébastien, do you
switch.
mind sharing this link to on in the chat?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
If people want to go in there and test it out,
If
play
any
around with
one
it.
of you want to to play with it. Where can I share? Okay.
There we go. All right, folks, so we have a link to the app that Sébastien was presenting. Any questions, comments about this app? Anything that piqued your interest? Let's see here. Entities, funded activities. Sébastien, can you go into funded activities for a second?
Yeah.
That bar, histogram, I think it's great that you added the bin size all the way to the right.
This
There.
one, yeah.
And you added the bin size capability. I use that a lot.
And here it was to see the distribution of a project, because there are basically one project in that range, so there are hundreds of million, but most of projects are more like between 20 and 14 million.
What happens if you change the bin size? You do a plus to add one?
No, it's to change the bin size. So here it's 50 million bin size. Here 20. You can choose the
Nice.
to make it more or less granular,
Yeah.
and a little checkbox to add the labels.
Ha. So cool. Like a nice game. I love it. Perfect, Sébastien. Well, thank you for showing this app to us. Thank you for building it.
It was really interesting, and every plot I tried to build new things actually. So yeah, there is only one thing maybe interesting here. It was funny actually to do it. It's a dash grid, mini dash grid.
Huh.
I use that as a control because I wanted to use the drag feature.
Yeah.
So you can drag the rows, and actually this is the order of the tree map.
Oh, yeah.
So here, this is what they call the DE after the type, the section. I don't remember. And the size. So this is the order of the tree.
Yeah.
But if you switch, one sense, if you want to see the size first, you can use the grid, and that updates by medium, large, small, micro.
Did you,
So yeah, it
Sébastien,
was fun to
did
use.
you use any AI for any of this?
Yeah, you're right to mention it actually, because yeah, LLMs are everywhere nowadays. So I started to use it to help me to code, and I use it a little for this app actually, uh, for few snippets, but also to for even for inspiration actually, for the colors, for the where it was. Yeah, here you can see the colors. I ask AI to a nice color palette matching the main color, which is green. So I ask it to give me a color palette for here 3 colors, matching the first the primary color, and that also can be used for the dark theme, but also for the light theme.
Yeah.
So yeah, that it helped me to build this up, and also.
And which, Sébastien, which AI are we using? ChatGPT or Mistral or Claude?
Actually, I'm switching because I'm using PyCharm, and I'm using the license for the AI assistant, and
Okay.
that provide usually paid models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are
Can you
available.
show us like a brief demo?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Sébastien, before you show us, Harris was asking how much custom CSS did this need? And would this app specifically, And
Good
with the custom CSS, would this impact uh, the how would this impact viewing the dashboard on smaller screens like tablets or phones? Would it be possible?
Mm, Good question. Good question. When I build the app, actually, I'm trying to customize the CSS directly inline in the Python side. But sometimes I need to go to CSS directly. So I prefer myself to customize inline directly, as either with the style parameter or the class parameter.
Yeah.
And yeah, also good question about the responsiveness of the app. I'm always trying to build up to being responsive. So here, I don't know if you can see, if I change the size of the window,
Okay.
so we
Thanks,
can still
Harris.
see the.
Yeah, we can still see it. Nice, responsive. Esther was asking, did you make the tree map with CSS too?
This is not a lot of CSS actually for this tree map. It was the first time actually I used the tree map, but no, actually the out of the box is already really nice. Here I
Yeah.
only added the controls for the order and the levels, but the colors it's directly plotly,
Nice. Okay.
and so we can take a look on the code. Can
Okay,
you
let's look at
see?
PyCharm and how you use the AI assistant there.
How can
It's
I
been
need
something
to
that people have been
switch?
talking about.
Yeah. So this is application. You can see PyCharm.
Yes.
So we can take a look quickly on the style. So actually those colors I don't use it. But yeah, there is some customization directly in CSS.
So
Yeah,
this
for
is
the
something that the
tooltips.
AI assistant helped you build?
Not that, not that. But yes, yeah, there are some things you need to customize directly in CSS. But I prefer to apply CSS through styles like that
Okay.
to see directly on the code. Yeah, you can see the gap, etc., etc. And yes, I can show a few things about AI. So you need the license to use it. And here you have all the models available.
Okay.
But I guess Claude Sonnet is quite good. And I use it for the colors, as I mentioned. I also use it um, for some of my codes for the status. I didn't show that. I can show an example. It was for the statuses here. For the project statuses, there
Yeah.
were several statuses like concern, legal processing, etc., etc. So I made a custom
Prompt.
prompt for AI. So I can show you quickly. I tried. So I asked it, I have some statuses related to project. Can you suggest some example of colors and icon I can use for those statuses? Thanks. We never know.
Yeah.
And here are the statuses. So I give the list. No, don't need the. Yeah. Being nice, it's also nice. I'll be happy to suggest. So here you can see the suggestions about the colors
Yeah.
and the meaning also. It explains why it chooses those colors and the icons
Ah, nice.
and how to implement it. So yeah, it's really amazing. I'm using AI for a few months now, but yeah, that's helped a lot actually.
Amazing.
Also for one thing interesting. For the tree map, we talked about the tree map, but to build the tree map, actually, you need a recursive function to build the tree.
Okay.
And I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's a lot of headaches when there are loops
Yeah.
hierarchical. So for this function that build the hierarchy for the tree map, you see that this function call itself to build
Huh.
the tree. And actually, I use AI to help me on it because I could create it, but with a lot of trial and error, I guess,
Yeah.
and that can take a lot of time. But with AI, only ask simply, can you help me to build the tree for the tree map? And with a few iteration, you have this function.
Wait, this was also the AI assistant in PyCharm?
Yeah,
Nice.
I skip. I give it the script, the current script without the function to build the tree. I give it the data, and with the data, it create the function.
Smart. Very good. Sébastien, Esther was asking, what CSS inline? Is this something that you think it's good?
I prefer actually. I prefer because it's only my opinion. Because when you use a CSS file, sometimes you have to. But if there something wrong on the CSS file, actually there is no error when you run your app.
Oh.
Whereas when there is a typo on the Python code inline, often there is an error.
Okay, so it's easier for debugging to do the CSS inline.
Mm. Yeah, I guess, and I prefer myself to use inline to see directly on the code what it's applied to this component.
Yeah. Cool. Sébastien, we are a few minutes over, so just
Ah,
to close us out, we like to end the hangout with one concrete suggestion or advice for our viewers. What kind of advice would you like to share with our audience?
I guess my main advice is be curious. Be curious. If you have an idea, make it happen. You you search, you learn what you need. It's basically what I do always do. And don't hesitate to ask question through the forum also. A lot of people can help you if you are stuck. And last advice, recent advice, is to use, if you can, use the AI to help you also. Because yeah, it's really helpful actually. Even for debugging or if you're stuck or if you need inspiration, that can help.
Wonderful advice. Be curious, work with others, and use AI for some support to
Mm.
build stuff and save some time.
Yeah, if you have any idea, try to build it.
Yeah. Great advice. Thank you, Sébastien. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate you,
Thank you.
Sébastien, for building all of this, for being such a wonderful and big contributor of the community. I hope to see more of your apps in the future. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's only the start.
Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you all. Bye bye.